Hello and welcome to this edition of Dirt Talk Straight Dirt, and I've got sprint car painter and t-shirt designer Randy Frank on the show. Randy, it's good to have you.
Thanks, fun to be here.
So Randy, let's jump right on in. What was your first introduction to the sport of racing?
My dad was a motorcycle racer when I was a kid. He raced flat tracks motorcycles, a lot of the the regular motocross like you guys see on TV. Even though I didn't really watch much of it, I was mostly just kind of playing with the kids at the racetracks all the time, just doing that. And then when I got involved with auto racing, my stepdad came into our lives, and he brought the super modified that he had that he raced at Shasta Speedway over, and it was kind of an old pile, but it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen at the time. So that was back like '82 or '83 at Shasta Speedway. So I watched him run those around for a couple of years. He just crashed the old one and then bought a new one. Got that for a couple of years, and he crashed that thing. And when he was done, he sold it, and then didn't sell it. He just kind of put it out in the field. But then when he was out of the picture, I was kind of out of racing there for a little while. But I started doing some lettering at the local body shop up there in Anderson on go-karts and stuff, and they seen how I was doing with that. And then Danny Burton came along and asked if I wanted to paint his car, and I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. So once I painted that car, 1987, they invited me to be on the crew. And then ever since then, I've been involved.
You just mentioned how you got into the lettering and painting business, but how did you get into the t-shirt designing stuff?
Well, along with painting Danny's car, he had me design a t-shirt for him, which I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't even know how to draw a sprint car. I mean, I drew race cars all my entire life, but I'd never been around a sprint car to know what I was drawing. So I drew the first one for Danny. And it just kind of progressed from there. Randy Tyner saw the artwork there, and he decided he wanted one, which it never got printed, but he decided he wanted one. Then it went from Mac Tyner Jr., and it just kind of progressed, and that was, like I said, that was back in '87. But I never really did kind of continuously do it until probably the last 10 or 15 years. Once I learned how to do color splits, that's when I continuously really started doing it quite a bit.
And I just forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. Randy Frank making history.
Yeah, I want to be the first guy to actually wear the shirt on the show. I didn't know if I figured Forsberg had to pull that off already.
Right.
See, I'm cool. That's the only cool thing I can do. Right?
So you're watching history here tonight on Dirt Talk. Is Randy Frank pulling
I'm not sucking it in to make it fit good. It actually does fit, so it's pretty good for me.
So let's get right back on it, I guess. How old were you when you first started in lettering, and how old were you when you started in designing?
When I started I started drawing all my life. In fact, I remember in 7th grade, I drew my logo that's a different form of this logo here, but the original logo that's been on my cards and been on race cars I've ever painted. I originally drew that in 7th grade at East Cotton. In fact, I remember one of my classmates going, "Hey, turn that off, Jason."
And he's the one that hounds the guy.
Yeah. Hey, shut your phone off, man. Anyways, I remember a kid in school was giving me crap about, "Oh, Frankenstein, that's so stupid. You'll never get out the board, get anywhere with that deal." And I've never really turned it into a major business like Yak or Shara or anything like that. But I've had that same logo and I've been kind of carrying that same name for over 30 years now. But yeah, it started basically when I was 7th grade, and it's been going ever since.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Randy, do you find painting or designing t-shirts, does it come to you naturally, or do you find it pretty hard?
It's getting really hard now just because I've kind of done it, and it's harder for me to find a new idea or something that hasn't been done. That's the hard thing, and I think a lot of t-shirt guys right now are doing the same thing. They're all in that transition of trying to figure out what's the new look, because right now they're kind of wearing out the straight line pointy thing. It was great, but now it's kind of going out, and they haven't really figured out something new. And that's the problem with me is it's hard to find a new look that's going to sell. So right now it's pretty tough for me to actually try to figure out what could be a great idea for sure. So it takes a little more longer time for me.
As you may have seen here, we're sitting behind a hood Randy Frank did for my dad's vintage car. So Randy, speaking of painting hoods and cars and stuff like this, what was your favorite car or t-shirt that you've ever made?
Oh, God. My favorite t-shirt's going to be the Jamie Cobby shirt from years ago. Jamie knew how flaky I was back then. So he was smart enough to show up at my house when I lived with CJ Humphreys up in Cameron Park. And he sat there for a couple days and we just, it was a shirt that was going to get sold. It wasn't a particular car. It was just a JC car, which stood for Jamie Coffey. And it was a blank, or not really a blank, it was a shirt that you could just sell no matter how many rides he had. And it was probably the best one I ever did. And it was such a big hit. It had his crew guy Steve Melville was on the back of the car as a kangaroo with a wrench in his pocket. It was just probably one of the coolest shirts I think I've ever done. Paint-wise, hell, I don't know. I don't know if I could ever pick a really good one. I mean, one of the Burton's cars, probably the last Burton car, Danny Burton's car would probably be one. I can't begin to even answer. I can't begin to even answer what would be my favorite paint job. I'd have to think about that one.
Well, we're going to take a small commercial break here to thank our sponsors. We are.
Smart move there. That was good.
Don't keep it.
Gotta give me some time to think about it. No. Is it still going? Okay, well, we'll just say it. I can't. What was a really good?
Oh, now it's not loud.
See, this makes good TV though. I don't.
Oh wait, it's still running.
Yeah, we're still going. So we're just gonna keep. We're rolling.
Well, the train was quieter than I thought it was going to be, so let's move on.
I tell you one thing, the train that came in about 2 hours ago, I thought it was coming in. That baby was on the gas. The dog's going ape nuts, and I thought he was going to come through the garage. Crazy. So, anyway, go ahead.
What do you like to do when you're not working?
You know, everybody kind of gives me crap that I turn into a photographer now, but I don't really do the racing much anymore. So I try to do my photography. You know, I need to start selling my stuff, but I'm an idiot, haven't figured that out yet, how to sell all that stuff. But that so far has been, you know, I like to go camping. I like to do all the stuff that I started doing when I got involved with racing back when I first got involved with racing. So all that recreational weekend stuff.
Here's my dog.
All that recreational weekend stuff that I did, I postponed all that stuff to do the racing. Well, now I've done the racing, so now I want to, Dolce. This is Dolce.
That's my dog, everybody.
This is the rat dog.
That's not very nice.
I usually don't like rat dogs. This is the only rat dog I like because he's not yapping every 5 seconds. Only all this morning when I was trying to paint, you were yapping quite a bit then. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, the photography and my camping at night and all that deal. Go eat on something. So, now I got hair all over me. So that's what I like to do. I'm a photographer type thing. So, and I still like to go to races when it's the big races. You know, the Radway, the Tartar deal, anything in Calistoga, Tulare. Even though I don't like going to Tulare, just because I don't like driving that far. Knoxville, if I lived in Knoxville, I'd be there every weekend. Cause that's still one of my favorite places.
You used to be a videographer for NARC. What were your videographer days like?
It was a lot of fun. I started out with Dean Mills back in '91. I think the Silver Cup was the first time. Dean will get that one right. I think it was the Silver Cup. It was one of my first shoot for Dean. And then I started shooting for Grove Hill for the NARC deal. And those were fun. And I also did the regular Chico night, Chico 410 deals, the Placerville deals with Dean. For 20 years I think I did that. And then Dean always kind of carried me along with wherever he went, he would carry me along. He got me involved with the Outdoor Channel deal for the 3 years of that, which I was very thankful for, because I've never traveled in my life until then. So I got to see almost every state in the United States doing that deal for 3 years. And then the third year, me and Eric Maley's, Art and Carol Maley's, the Working Woody guys, we took the video trailer. And we basically took the video trailer with us in the motorhome for 9 months and did the whole entire tour in 2006. And when we didn't kill each other, it was actually a whole lot of fun. It was probably one of the best years of traveling I've ever had in my life. And then I did some Hooters Pro Cup stock car stuff afterwards, and for Speed Channel in Atlanta, and some offshore boat stuff. But that's right when the economy kicked in really bad. In 2009, and nobody could afford to do anything, so I basically got asked to move back home, and I haven't done any really camera work since. An occasional thing for Dean, you know, is about all I really do now.
What series did you video for the Outdoor Channel, and what was that time in your life like?
World of Outlaws is what it was for, and like I said, it was a lot of fun. I mean, every weekend I'd drive 2 hours to the airport, get on a plane, and fly somewhere to the United States. And I had a blast. It was just me and 6 kids, you know, and one kind of angry boss. He's cool now, but he was not a nice guy. I stopped seeing.
Good job.
Was that good? That was throttle control?
That
right
was
there.
really good.
Drake's been trying to figure out how I'm going to get through this entire deal and not say one cuss word. So far I almost got on the right front on that one by saying so, but yeah, no, it was, like I said, that was probably the 3 of the funnest years of my life, because it was just 6 kids, and then when the speed deal took over later on, a lot of people were telling us, hey, you know what, for a bunch of kids, you guys probably did as good, if not a better job than the speed guys did, and I did. I really took that as a huge compliment, because we didn't, you know, we knew what we were doing, but a lot of times we didn't know what we were doing. We really had to ad-lib with the weather and with situations going on. I mean, I think one time at Williams Grove, we ran till 3:30, I think, in the morning. And
Wow.
we didn't shut the trailer door until 5:30 in the morning. The sun was coming up when we shut the trailer door, and I had to take people straight to the airport and have them fly home. So I didn't really get any sleep until I got on the plane later that day.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done for a shot? Today I found a picture of you hanging out the back of an ARC pace truck trying to get some shots.
And that was a lot of fun. I still wish I could do that. In fact, Dan Simpson's deal that he had, well, he still does, that KWS thing, when he started it, he let me hang out in the back of the truck with his camera, and which is pretty cool, because whenever Brent Kading's on the track, it's gonna be fun. Because when I first started that, Brent was always a show. The very last time I did it 3 or 4 years ago, Brent, I heard him coming, and I was just watching the camera to see where it was gonna be at, and I heard the brakes lock up. And I heard it get closer and closer, and I looked up, and his front wing panel is basically right here. And I thought, man, this is the last time I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my head taken off. But the craziest, and I'm going to say the stupidest thing I ever did was Greg Shatarian bet me that I wouldn't stand in the bottom opening of the Marysville Speedway flag stand and video there all night. Well, then there's no fence between me and the racetrack. It's an open overhead deal. So I stood there for one qualifying day. It was Paul McMahon was qualifying, and when he went by, he almost sucked me out of the racetrack because of the wind vortex off his wing. So I grabbed a rope and tied a rope from the flag stand to my leg, and that held me in all night. And I shot all night there, and it was actually really cool. At one point, my foot had kind of slipped off the wall a little bit, and Brent came by with about 5 laps to go, and his right rear hit my foot, and that's when I thought, you really shouldn't be doing this. But I ended up doing it the following year one more time just to get the footage, because I was stupid enough to do stuff like that, and now there's no way I would do that. There's not in this world.
With age too.
With age, yeah, I'm just an old fart now, so I can't get out of the way. So and I brake easy too. Back then I was dumb, and I could, you know, I'm malleable back then. Now I'll snap as soon as a fly hits me. So you know, my days are over on that.
What's your favorite event of the year?
You know, it's always been the Knoxville Nationals, and it's not so much the racing. I don't go to the Nationals for the racing. I go because we've done it for over 20 something years, and it's always such a great time. And all my favorite, you know, racing fans from the Midwest or whatever that you don't ever get to see are all out there. So even if it rains out, I'm having a great time because I just always love going to Knoxville. And I've missed the last 2 years. I've missed 3 years in total since I first went in '91. And you know, I would have to say that I got a lot of different places I've gone to racing wise, especially with the whole video thing. But I just Knoxville is what I used to always look forward to. And whether I make it this year or not, I don't really have any idea what I'm going to be doing with that. But that's just always been the funnest thing. And like I said, it's not about really the racing. It's just the whole atmosphere, the friends you meet, you know, the good time you have, and it just doesn't get any better than that event.
Well, you've been going to the racetrack for quite some time now. I'm sure you've had a lot of good memories at the racetrack, but all out of those, which one was your favorite?
Oh, God. I don't
Make
know.
it G-rated, please.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll leave those alone. Let's close that book. I don't know. I mean, I think about the time that we should have won Gold Cup, but we didn't because we had a little motor issue. That would have been really great for our team if we won that Gold Cup that year. But because I've always wanted to have a Gold Cup. I've been going to that thing for years, and I mean the best finish I ever got as a crew guy was with Danny Burton. We got third. In fact, I really would have loved to have seen if we had 10 more laps if we would have done better, because we were basically catching Gertie and Lasowski, and it would have been interesting to see if he had anything for those two guys with some further laps. So I don't know. as a crew guy, just probably the Gold Cup races, and that one that we could have had we probably not had a motor issue. So.
You've worked for a lot of people and made a lot of cars and T-shirts, but out of all those, which one was your favorite job?
Oh, God, there's another one. I have so many. I sound like some career. I'm no Ricky. I'm no anybody. I'm just a sign painter that kind of paints on or that works on cars. But the Burton family Sprinter was always going to be my favorite one, just because that's what those guys actually brought me. Between Art Spalding and the Burtons, they kind of introduced me to the whole racing thing, and I would have never gotten to travel like I did. I mean, I was such a young kid. I was only 18, 19 years old. And my mom would, I was surprised she let me out of the house to even go with these people, because she didn't even know who these people were. And next thing you know, she's letting me go to Washington to go to the Dirt Cup. So, yeah, the Burton family was great. Working with Jonathan all those years, because I was Jonathan's crew guy for the longest time, with being his tire guy. In fact, I've always said that Jonathan finally got fast the day I quit working for him. So. Yeah, with Rick Wright, I never thought working with Rick Wright would be any kind of fun. I figured it'd be the worst, crew and deal I ever had in my entire life, but it was a lot of fun. Working with Bonsai on the outdoor channel schedule. A lot of times I'd split from Eric's motorhome, and Bonsai would let me travel with him with Hod's crew, and that was a blast. If you ever get anywhere near the Hodenshield family, go see them, because they are a great family to hang out with. And Bonsai is just really great to work with. I mean, if I ever wanted to do any kind of crewing on the Outlaw deal, which I'm not, because I just don't have the energy for that anymore, I would go work with Bonsai in a minute. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. And those guys are just great to be around.
You talked earlier about going on the whole Outlaw tour. You got to see a lot of racetracks, but out of every racetrack you've ever been to, which one was your favorite?
Knoxville is always going to be my favorite there, but I like high bank tracks. I like I-55. What the hell is that one that Stenhouse started from the back, ran the boards all the way up. It was the Brad Doty Memorial. Brad Doty Classic. Sorry, not Brad Doty Memorial. Sorry, Brad. Brad Doty Classic, and I don't remember what track that was.
Was it Limeland?
It might have been Limeland, yeah, because the Stenhouse ran all the way from the back, running the boards all the way to the front. I was hanging over the top of turn 3 shooting, and I was just dirty from head to toe. But he won the deal, but he lost it because the car was too light. But I love the high bank tracks. Like I-55, it's just one of my favorite places.
We know most people, when they get in the racing business, they mostly want to try to drive and make something out of it, make a career. But
I forgot about that part. You're heading to a nice segue there. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Did you ever want to race?
Oh, well, because that's one, like you were asking about, one of my favorite parts of racing. I almost completely forgot about the 4 or 5 years that I helped Jimmy at the driving school. And that was really the only driving I ever really got to do, was that. And once Jimmy realized I wasn't going to throw it in the fence, because believe me, when I first started driving, it looked like I was going to throw it in the fence, especially if I had Mountain Dew. He always knew if I had 2 or 3 Mountain Dews, he knew I was going to be liable to throw it in the fence, because my throttle control wasn't as good. Yeah, I've had offers. I've actually had offers. People said, wow, I should throw you in a car, but I didn't take them seriously, because I thought, you're going to throw me in a car? Are you kidding? And I know that with me, every time I ever drove in Jimmy's car, I had to tell myself every lap, slow down. The reason why you're going faster is because you have to slow down. And I'd have to tell myself that, because I've always been really non-patient and very aggressive with everything I've ever done. And I just know I would probably tear up a lot of stuff. I mean, I did one hot lap session at Marysville, and I thought, how the hell do they do this and not flip every 5 seconds? That was my first thought. I'm trying to follow Tim Green in turn 1. I'm like, how do I do this? There's no way. So it's amazing how these guys can do this time and time again and not have any serious crashes every 5 seconds. So yes, I have thought about it. I've always liked to at least have one race, but I also see myself sitting up till 3 in the morning fixing that guy's car. So it's probably a good thing I don't get one.
You've obviously been around wing sprint car racing with the World of Outlaws, and have you ever? I'm sure you've been to a couple non-wing races.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the World of Outlaw deal, that was only just a TV thing for the 3 years. I haven't really, you know, I haven't never really been on that. It was more just the regular Chico deal, the NARC deal and stuff around here. But yeah, I did, with Dean, he always hauls me down to Paris and Manzanita at the end of the year and the beginning of the year for the Western World, the Oval Nationals and all that. So I do that towards the end of the year. Well, you know, it's cool to shoot that deal because you can get away with a lot more stuff. I remember during the 4 abreast, they let me take the lift out and drive it out. Well, not drive it out, pull the boom out over the top of the cars. So J.G. Ailey was my gauge of how low I could get, because I wanted to get it right over the top of the cages. Well, I got it out there. They did the 4 abreast. I go to fire up the lift, it doesn't fire up. I go to hit it again. I'm going, oh no, thank God this is a half mile, because I got probably a minute and a half to get this thing fired up, and finally it wouldn't fire. I had to end up raising it back up to get it out of the way so they can go racing, and then drive it back into the infield and get it safely put back where it was to start shooting the deal. But usually out here you really wouldn't be able to get away with that stuff, but at Manzanita they let you do. But I mean, Jack Ely put me on the backstretch in a bucket of his D9 tractor, and it hung me over the backstretch fence. So kind of some of the camera angles there were really cool. So yeah, I mean, I only did it probably at the beginning of the year and the end of the year for the Western and the Oval Nationals and stuff like that. But I miss Manzanita. That place is a wicked place. I mean, absolutely fun as heck to go there.
Which do you prefer, pavement or dirt?
Oh geez, that's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. I mean, I'll go to a pavement race, but the last one I went to was Brad Sweet's deal, and we left just because it was just, they had a long red or something like that, or I don't know what it was, but I just thought, no, I'm gonna go home. It's just not my deal. It is, I like watching the pavement deal. I'll go watch it, but it's dirt by far, by a long shot.
Do you have a pet?
I have a pet. Her name is Tuesday, and everybody has to hear about her. I have this deal I started on Instagram called Annoying Pet Pics, because a lot of times people put 130 pictures of their kids or their pets. Here's my pet licking, here's my pet kicking, here's my pet eating, here's my pet barking, you know. So my cat, I only take pictures of her when she's doing something crazy or stupid. But also I do it for a reason, because the previous owners had to give her up because they just couldn't have her anymore. So I took her over, and a lot of times I post the pictures just so they know how she's doing. And it's Jonathan Howard's old cat that used to have Tuesday, and she's the only reason why I took this cat is because this cat has got the biggest personality. She's the only cat who will come to me when I come home, when I'm at the door, and she'll walk me to my door, to the door when I leave for work. And she's very voicious. She literally talks to you and follows you around the house like a dog. I've never had a cat ever follow me around the house like a dog, but this one does that. And she's got her own fan base. Now that I've moved to Calistoga, everybody comes in and hangs out. They don't care about me. They go and see the cat. So yeah, I have the one pet. And after that, I probably won't have a pet, because it's hard to have pets that are that cool again.
Well, prop. Dolce, you're done.
You're done.
Thank you.
Bye, Dolce.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Go pee on something. Go lick yourself.
So we kind of know vinyl is the big thing now, but with some of these vintage cars like this, you've gotten the opportunity to hand letter and hand paint these cars. How cool of an opportunity is that for you?
It's a great opportunity. In fact, I had people on Instagram telling me that the Samantha Croft was like, "Would you quit telling us how crappy your lettering is? It looks fantastic." Shut up, basically, is what she was saying. And it's like, well, I'm really, really picky in how my stuff is, and because I'm half blind now, and I haven't striped in probably 3 or 4 years, I noticed a huge difference in how I can't stripe as well as I used to. So it's really harder for me. So when on these outlines and some of this stuff down here, I had a hell of a time trying to get it looking good. And but I want to keep practicing, because I love these cars, because these cars aren't going to go out and get absolutely destroyed in 3 hours. You know, I've had cars I've done, and I went ahead and got the pictures of them before they hit the racetrack, because I knew what driver was going to drive it, and I knew there was going to be nothing left at the end of the night. So yeah, Jason gave me the great opportunity to paint this car, and it was, I thought, man, I hope I can do it justice, and it turned out pretty dang good. And it didn't have, the only issue I had was with my name. It had a little bit of some wrinkling issues with my name here, but everything else turned out good. But if any name is going to get wrinkled, it better be mine. But yeah, it turned out flawless, and it's all up to him to get it all built. And I told him when he gets it built, I want a picture with him and I standing next to the car somewhere beautiful, and be a nice one for the wall. So yeah, I have another one. I think Clyde Lamar's got a car he wants to get done or something like that. So down the road. So these vintage ones are a lot of fun. Andy Forsberg's dad's car was a great one to do. So yeah, the more the better, as long as I can get the time to do them.
Being around you for a while, I've noticed you could do. I noticed you could do a lot of impersonations and sounds.
Oh,
could
Jesus.
you think you could do one or two for us?
It's Michael Andretti or Michael Waltrip said it best. You can't do it on cue. You have to just roll it out. It's better when you roll it out. You know, like I was doing earlier when I was doing the Huell Hauser, which none of you people know who Huell Hauser is, but I was doing the Huell Hauser invitation, and it's best when it rolls it out of you naturally. But I'll see how I can do it. So, what do you want?
Anything.
Just throw one out.
I don't know. Yeah, Johnny Gibson.
I can't do Johnny Gibson.
British dude.
I can do Johnny. I have to be on crack to do Johnny Gibson. Oh my God! In turn 3, he's upside down. Oh wait, no, he just spun out. Jesus, it's a big yellow flag. Good God! Slow down, have a coat. Yeah, that's my Johnny.
And you did a baby sound earlier.
Oh yeah, that's my Marco Andretti invitation. So yeah.
Let me take a break. Have you ever considered comedy?
No, well, I can't do that all the time. I can't do it in front of people. I just can't. You do it around your people you're comfortable with, but everybody else you can't. There's just a certain crowd that you can, like, there's a lot of my friends are like, you say he's funny? He's not funny at all. He just kind of sits there and says nothing. But certain people you have to a certain way around, and people that you're comfortable with, and you pour that stuff out. So.
Apparently, you don't like kids or something. Oh, my mom told me that, by the way.
It's not that I don't like kids. They don't make quiet, well-mannered ones. They do, but you have to train them. I used to be a little pain in the butt. You know, a little whiny little pain in the butt. See, I saved myself twice. That's twice now. So it's not that I don't like kids. I just don't. I used to have a rule when I painted the kids. I didn't want, or when I painted the kids, when I painted the cars, I didn't want any kids around me. Like when I used to do Rod Tyner's cars, Little Rod would come out and sit on the bar stool, and he knew that he had to sit on that bar stool and not say a word. I didn't tell him that. Rodney told me, you just sit there and you don't say a damn word. And I used to think, God, what does this kid want to sit here for and watch? But he was really cool, and if he asked questions, he asked really good questions, and that's just how I was. I've always been a person of little patience, and so it's just, I get it from both my grandpas were that way. Both my grandpas were like, you can hang out, but don't touch nothing. You touch something, I'm going to send you back to grandma. You know, so that's how they both were. They were both stern. They'll let you hang out, but God forbid you touch anything, they're going to throw you in the back of the truck and haul you off to the garbage. So, yeah, that's just how I've been.
Yeah, and you've been living with me and my brother for a few days.
Yeah, I kicked you out of your damn bedroom, huh?
At least this person's cool.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you realized I wasn't the redneck you thought I was. I have my days, believe me.
What's your favorite dessert? I know my mom made some
your mom just built it. Yeah, that one there was keen. The pineapple upside down cake. There's one at Rayleigh's right now that they've been making. It's some strawberry banana filled with strawberries on top with a whole bunch of whipped cream and crap. I don't know that deal. But her deal that she just made, that's why I told you guys it's terrible, don't eat it. Okay, it's gonna be bad for you because I want to take it all home. It's about that big. I got the whole thing to stick in my trunk or in my car and take her home tomorrow. So.
All right, that's gonna wrap up our show today. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. I'm glad I got to be on your show. It's a pretty cool show you got going on.
Thank you.